Welcome to the Crossbow Cross-Examination, brought to you by Excalibur. At Excalibur, we think it is important for you to make an educated buying decision. With more and more crossbows appearing on the market, and with existing crossbow manufacturers introducing new models every year, it is becoming increasingly difficult to compare before you buy. So we decided to do the work for you. We hired an engineer and crossbow specialist and designed a series of crossbow tests to demonstrate how the various brand name crossbows perform.
I've been selling and servicing all makes of crossbows for over 30 years. I'm here to authenticate these tests to make sure that all of the bows are prepared properly, that all of the tests are done safely, and each bow is prepared to manufacturer specifications.
All of the crossbows in this program were purchased off the shelf, just as you would do. We call this the Crossbow Cross-Examination, and we think you'll find it quite informative. The first test is the durability test. This is the Eliminator, a crossbow shooting machine. We've set up 5 brand-name crossbows, plus the recurve-limbed Excalibur Matrix, according to manufacturers' recommendations, and put them to the test. What we want to determine is how long each crossbow will last, how many shots each will fire before failing. We are testing the durability of all moving parts and looking for premature string wear. We also want to identify timing issues. Even if the crossbow doesn't come apart, we want to know if it is in need of tuning and how accurately it will shoot. All variables are considered: arrow weight, power stroke, and draw weight. Everything is set up according to manufacturer's recommendations and checked by our engineer and crossbow specialists. You will also notice that our crossbows do not actually fire an arrow. Our engineers tested each crossbow to determine how much energy is actually used to fire an arrow and how much energy is wasted as noise, vibration, and heat, and set up the crossbow test accordingly. This method simulates the firing of an actual arrow without having to fire one. We'll show you each crossbow side by side and speed up the footage. Let the shooting begin. The first crossbow fails after only 138 shots. The second occurs after 214 shots. Crossbow failure number 3 occurs at 260 shots. Crossbow 4 fails at 326 shots. Even the best crossbow fails after 500 shots. Notice the Excalibur Matrix 355 and 380 are still going strong after 3,000 shots with only periodic string replacements. That's right, over 3,000 shots. To verify these results, we decided to do a second test using all new bows. This time, bow number 2 fails first after only 174 shots. Bow number 1 goes down at 187 shots. Bow number 3 at 393 shots. Bow number 5 fails after 477 shots. Bow number 4 is out after 489 shots. Once again, notice the Excalibur Matrix 355 and 380 are still going strong after 3,000 shots, with only periodic string replacements. The overall results in round 2 are relatively comparable. Once again, the Excalibur Matrix 355 and 380 are still shooting well after the compound crossbows have expired. This begs the question, how many hunts do you want to miss due to your compound crossbow failing in the field and needing repair? With a recurve-limbed Excalibur Matrix, you can expect a lifetime of dependable service. With compound crossbows, be prepared to make repairs. In some cases, you could even call these crossbows disposable.
I'm Steve Gerber, the host of Excalibur's Outdoor America on the Outdoor Channel. Today I'm at Jay's Sporting Goods in Clare, Michigan to speak with Travis Boyd. Over the last several years, he has literally sold thousands of Excaliburs. We want to know why.
They're one of the simplest things to use. They're one of the easiest things to use. There's less things to think about. You can unload it without firing it. That's a really big thing with most of my customers. There's just less things to tinker with, to go wrong with, and I've got a lot of faith in them. They stay together and they're going to do the job for you season after season.
What's your opinion on the Excalibur crossbow versus other crossbows that are on the market?
They're phenomenal. In the 4 years I've worked with Dunkelbergers, I've only had to fix 2, and it was user error. Nothing ever mechanically has ever failed. They're great compared to any other compound crossbow.
We always keep track of our crossbows come in broken. We had 14 come in, all compounds, no Excaliburs. Be honest with you, in 25 years I've never fixed one other than a string.
Consumers say that one of the keys they consider when choosing a crossbow is speed. So, in our Crossbow Cross-Examination, we decided to test the speed of each of our 5 crossbows and compare it to advertised speed claims. Each crossbow is set up according to that manufacturer's recommendations, and our speed test is done with manufacturer-recommended accessories. We will shoot each crossbow through a calibrated industrial-grade Oler 35 BNC chronograph 3 times and take the average of the 3 recorded speeds.
We know speed can be a major factor when someone's buying a crossbow. Speed is important for field accuracy. It gives us a flatter trajectory. We at Excalibur use only the finest test equipment, state-of-the-art stuff that has extremely high resolution, capable of accuracies much higher than consumer-grade chronographs.
Once again, our engineer checks each crossbow for compliance. Crossbow number 1 averages 392.2 feet per second, which is 7.8 feet per second below the advertised speed. Crossbow number 2 averages 341.8 feet per second, which is 8.2 feet per second below the advertised speed. Crossbow number 3 averages 344 feet per second, which is 1 foot per second below the advertised speed. Crossbow number 4 averages 364.3 feet per second, which is 20.7 feet per second below the advertised speed. Crossbow number 5 averages 354.2 feet per second, which is 5.8 feet per second below the advertised speed. The Excalibur Matrix 355 averages 355.3 feet per second, which is 0.3 feet per second above the advertised speed. The Excalibur Matrix 380 averages 380.3 feet per second, which is 0.3 feet per second above the advertised speed. Speed is but one of many factors you should consider when making a crossbow purchase decision. We understand, though, that it is one of the easier ways to compare one crossbow to another. As you can see by the results, the Crossbow Cross-Examination speed test, actual speeds and advertised speeds may well not be the same. It should be noted that we used recommended arrows, not supplied arrows, which would have been significantly slower yet. How a crossbow performs out of the box and how it performs over time may very well be different. Performance reliability is important. Nobody wants to go afield having to wonder if their crossbow is going to shoot accurately that particular day. To test for consistency and accuracy, we set up each crossbow according to manufacturer's recommendations right out of the box and shot groups at 25 and 50 yards. We determined accuracy by measuring the grouping size, which is the center-to-center distance between the 2 furthermost arrows in inches. Then we put each crossbow on the eliminator shooting machine for 50 cycles. This represents shooting over time. Then we repeated the accuracy tests at 25 and 50 yards for each crossbow. Let's watch. Crossbow number 1 achieves an out-of-the-box score of 1.918 at 25 yards and 2.853 at 50 yards. After 50 cycles on the shooting machine, that score is now 3.067 and 5.145 respectively. Crossbow number 2 achieves an out-of-the-box score of 0.649 at 25 yards and 0.738 at 50 yards. After 50 cycles on the shooting machine, that score is now 0.932 and 2.845 respectively. Crossbow number 3 achieves an out-of-the-box score of 0.508 at 25 yards and 2.82 at 50 yards. After 50 cycles on the shooting machine, that score is now 1.202 and 2.960 respectively. Crossbow number 4 achieves an out-of-the-box score of 1.394 at 25 yards and 3.039 at 50 yards. After 50 cycles on the shooting machine, That score is now 1.445 and 3.268 respectively. Crossbow number 5 achieves an out-of-the-box score of 1.798 at 25 yards and 3.728 at 50 yards. After 50 cycles on the shooting machine, that score is now 1.798 and 6.049 respectively. Now, let's shoot the Excalibur Matrix. Out of the box, the Matrix 355 scores .610 at 25 yards and 1.287 at 50 yards. After 50 cycles on the Eliminator, the Excalibur 355 records a score of .822 and 1.353 respectively. Out of the box, the Matrix 380 scores .893 at 25 yards and 1.406 at 50 yards. After 50 cycles on the Eliminator, the Excalibur 380 records a score of 1.062 and 1.682 respectively. Let's look at these results graphically. These two lines represent out-of-the-box accuracy at 25 and 50 yards. As you can see, our Excalibur Matrix models certainly fare well in out-of-the-box accuracy, as does at least one competitor. Now let's look at accuracy after 50 shots in the Eliminator shooting machine. This represents accuracy after you've practiced with your crossbow, which you certainly would do before hunting. At short range, Excalibur once again fares very well. It's at longer range after the 50 shots that the results become dramatic and where Excalibur is nearly twice as accurate as the nearest competitor. Why? Compound crossbows have more to go wrong, more to change. The cams on a compound crossbow can and will go out of sync. They require periodic maintenance, and because compound crossbows have 2 cables and a string and 3 times the total cable and string length of a recurve crossbow, there will be more cable and string stretch. If nothing else, you owe it to the animal to make sure your compound crossbow is maintained so that you always make a good shot. Or get a recurve-limbed Excalibur and know you will shoot accurately over time.
With Excalibur, there's no cam timing or tuning other than keeping your brace height in check. And all that requires is once in a while, you got to put a couple twists in your string, bring your brace height back to where it should be, and you're back in business.
With Excalibur, Brian, it's just simple, simple, simple.
This is the trigger scan, a trigger pull machine that graphically represents a trigger pull profile. The following is a diagram of what an optimal trigger pull profile looks like on a quality firearm. A good trigger allows you to steadily apply finger pressure and then breaks cleanly. A good hunting trigger should load smoothly to approximately 2.5 pounds of pressure, have no perceptible movement, and should be free of any grittiness as represented here. Now let's look at the trigger pull profiles of our crossbows. There is a lot of travel on crossbow number 1's trigger on the way to its 3.6 pound peak, then even more travel while dropping off before finally breaking. The trigger pull on crossbow number 2 builds very slowly to its 4.4 pound peak. It also exhibits grittiness before finally breaking cleanly. Crossbow number 3's trigger loads quickly until it hits a drag spot halfway through load up, and then a small drop off before maintaining a fairly consistent pull and break off. Crossbow number 4's trigger builds slowly, with a significant drag spot on its way to a 4.9 pound peak. There is then excessive travel before a clean break. The trigger pull of crossbow number 5 builds quickly to its peak of 3.5 pounds, but once it starts to slide, it has a very gritty feel before breaking cleanly. Now let's look at the trigger pull diagram for the Excalibur Matrix 380. The trigger pull builds quickly to its 2.5 pound peak and then proceeds smoothly and with minimal travel before breaking cleanly. As the trigger scan has demonstrated, the trigger pull profile on the Excalibur Matrix is far more like a premium rifle than it is like the compound crossbows.
We at Excalibur look for a trigger that builds up smoothly, has a minimal amount of travel, and breaks cleanly at about 2.5 pounds. We use the most state-of-the-art equipment to test for load, amount of travel, amount of energy that it takes to actuate that trigger, and that's what gives us the best trigger on the market.
Yet another reason why an Excalibur Matrix recurve crossbow outperforms the competition. In the Crossbow Cross-Examination, we also want to demonstrate several ease-of-use differences between compound crossbows and the recurve-limbed Excalibur Matrix. The first such demonstration is decocking. When you are done hunting for the day with your compound crossbow, decocking means firing your arrow. This means you need to have a target with you, or failing that, you need to find a soft piece of earth into which to shoot. Either way, you are going to make some noise, and you'll probably not be doing your broadhead any good either. With an Excalibur Matrix, decocking is this simple. Make sure you have removed the arrow. Attach both rope cocking aid hooks to the crossbow string on either side of the stock. Make sure the rope is placed in the groove. Pull up one handle until you release the pressure of the trigger. Place the safety to the fire position. Release the trigger. Slowly let it down. You'll never have to shoot your arrow after your hunt is over. The key difference shown between the compound crossbows and Excalibur is enough by itself for many hunters to choose Excalibur. If you read the owner's manual on some compound crossbows, they recommend that you uncock your crossbow every 4 or 5 hours. Apparently, the stress and strain of being loaded and cocked is more than they can take. Given that this means firing your arrow, uncocking and recocking can be a big hassle if you are hunting all day. With an Excalibur, you can leave your crossbow cocked for days without concern for damage or lost accuracy. Here is time-lapse footage of an Excalibur crossbow that was left cocked for 3 days. Let's see how it shoots. One less thing to worry about if you buy an Excalibur. On all crossbows, strings stretch and eventually wear out. This means they'll need to be replaced. If you own a compound crossbow, this means you'll either need access to a bow press or you'll have to bring your crossbow into the dealer. In the event that you slice or nick your string while in the field, it probably means your hunt is over. With the recurve-limbed Excalibur Matrix, you can change your bowstring in the field. Let's watch in this Crossbow Cross-Examination a side-by-side demonstration to see how long it takes for our hunter to change a string on a compound crossbow and how long it takes for an Excalibur Matrix. The bottom line is obvious. Maintenance on an Excalibur is far easier. You do not need a bow press. You do not need to get your recurve crossbow tuned up either. With a compound crossbow, it is recommended that you get your string and cables checked every year. This will cost you around $25 or more. It is also recommended that you get your crossbow taken down, cleaned and lubed every 3 years to the tune of $100. That's not the case with Excalibur.
I had a gentleman got up in his tree stand, accidentally cut his string with his broadhead, ping, came apart. So he got down on the ground, got a string out of his backpack and his stringer, strung it back up, got back up in the stand, shot a buck an hour later. Any other bow, he'd been out of commission.
Excalibur was so easy to repair, he was able to keep hunting and tag a buck.
Exactly.
If you travel to hunt, you'll really appreciate how simple it is to take down an Excalibur Matrix recurve-limbed crossbow. Once again, let's watch as the Crossbow Cross-Examination demonstrates traveling with your crossbow. With a compound crossbow, you're left with a rather large and cumbersome case that does not fit well in the back of your truck or on an airplane. But with a recurve-limbed Excalibur Matrix, by removing just 2 bolts, the crossbow head disconnects. This allows the entire crossbow to fit into a smaller travel case. And rest assured, this simple disassembly will not alter your impact point one bit. The head is designed to fit back into the exact same position to assure accuracy. Packability for travel, yet another advantage of the Excalibur Matrix. We hope this Crossbow Cross-Examination has been informative. We've tried to cut through the hype and show you the performance and maintenance differences between compound crossbows and the recurve-limbed Excalibur Matrix crossbow. Wheels are worthy on vertical bows where the mechanical advantage they offer makes drawing and holding much easier. But on a crossbow where you don't hold the weight, wheels are a mechanical disadvantage and represent just more to go wrong.
Now, when it comes to buying a crossbow, what would you spend your hard-earned money on?
My hard-earned money is going to an Excalibur. As a whitetail hunter, I want things to be dependable, I want them to be simple, and I want them to be efficient to the max. Excalibur's the way to go.
Number one reason we sell Excalibur crossbows, we always have a happy customer.
The bottom line is this: Excalibur has been making recurve-limbed crossbows since 1983. Recurve-limbed crossbows are more reliable, more powerful, lighter weight, and virtually maintenance-free. And we guarantee them. If your Excalibur crossbow ever fails during the normal course of shooting, we will repair it free of charge. Excalibur, the world's best crossbows. See them at your local Excalibur dealer today.